What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Full Credits to the Boys. Obviously, a disappointing result there going down at Wollongong. Obviously, the Dragons getting over the top of the Warriors 30-12. So a lot to talk about in this show on this one. How quickly a week can change the thoughts about everything. Obviously, we went from the highest highs with Fisher Harris being named that he's coming home. But also then we go through this result here. That honestly was a very uncharacteristic result from our side in this one. But I got to also talk about the Dragons a little bit later on too and give full credit to them because I honestly thought they were unbelievable in this game. And this is not me making excuses for our boys either because we will touch on a lot of our errors and a lot of our points that we do need to work on that actually was found out in this game a lot more than the games past. But it's definitely a good thing maybe that we get a little bit of a reality check here from the highest of highs. And I still believe in our squad and I think everyone still believes in our squad overall. But good to see everyone still in the chat here. Nars Williams, Michael, T. Miller, Jacko here, the bro T. A lot of comments left, right, and center, guys. This is absolutely unbelievable. I love seeing all you guys in the chat, obviously. Keep a smiles, keep positivity too, guys. Obviously, this is where you really weed out the some of the Warriors fans comparatively. You know, if you guys are really disappointed and you think this is like, you know, we're going back to 2012 or anything like that, or, you know, the early freaking COVID years and stuff like that, you know, maybe it's time to leave. But really, yeah, it's just another game that we're going to have to learn from. I'm sure Webby will really pick apart this performance here and, like, you know, give it to the boys and really give a whole lot of solid criticism across the board. And, you know, there's a couple of positives I did find in this game, a couple of performances from a couple of boys here that I really did enjoy. But majority of it, I think there was a lot of improvement to be made in this team, especially after this performance here, and maybe some more talking points on where people are sitting at the moment. And, you know, I know there's going to be a lot of chat on like our roster and people maybe coming in and out. So just going to give you my quick thoughts overall, guys, and then I'll jump over to the chat because I see a ton of questions, and I do understand, guys, this is obviously a big day for us to do this, but yeah, it's really unfortunate, really unfortunate. Marcelo, you're fired, Cole. Yeah, I see it there, bro. The bro T, we were leading the game, the opening 10-15, and bro couldn't capitalize. Was really frustrating. Definitely a frustrating watch overall. Shout out to the bro T and all that. Lesky, I'm crying. Did not expect that. I don't think anyone really expected that overall. Shout out to LinkedIn. What the hell? LinkedIn, that's probably one of the worst performances in the last 5 years, to be honest. I'm a little worried, especially with our attack against a solid defense. Honestly, man, like, it's still very early on in the season. These sort of things will, like, kinks will get figured out and, like, we'll get better and better during the season. Like, it's still so early on. And obviously, overall, guys, I do want to touch on the Dragons to start with because I thought they were absolutely incredible. And anyone that says otherwise, I honestly don't believe you. Honestly, like, you know, for them to come into this game, perform the way they did, they completed at one point, they were completing around like 95% completion rate or whatever, 90. And I think that fell off pretty late to the game to end up being 85, where they kind of, you know, I felt like, you know, they knew they had the big lead on it and we got that late try and that, and, you know, just things weren't going, who were turning it back in our way a little bit late there, but just wasn't, the scoreline was way too out of grab there. But overall, you know, the Dragons, I thought defensively they were absolutely unreal. You know, just that sliding defense, especially against our right side attack, just was very predictable in moments. Obviously, it started off really well with Shawnee going over for the try. Moses Sully missing an assignment there. Great work from Catewell to cut back in and not obstruct the play there with a beautiful run on the inside. Opened up Shawnee's run there. And you kind of, from the start of the game, we thought that we were going to be on the up. We thought that it legit looked like what we were expecting to be, putting a decent scoreline on the side. Because honestly, you know, I don't mean to offend any Dragons fans in the chat. I see you in there, Nanad, and all that. But I felt like, yeah, coming into this game, we should have definitely put a decent scoreline on the Dragons. But, you know, maybe the Dragons are maybe a little bit better than what people expected. And especially with the teams this year, the competition is getting a lot tighter. But we do want to be a premiership threat, and we got to get over teams like this. I do understand that. But it's still very early on in the season, and it's good to see that we can maybe, a lot of things that we did wrong in this game is a lot of things we can work on. And I felt like, you know, this is the first time that we kind of fell away in our game plan, especially especially defensively in behind the ruck. I think we got found out, especially with the bench rotation of the Dragons. Their momentum was just on a different level. But again, back to the Dragons, I thought they completed amazingly. I thought they took their opportunities when they could, especially when they got down to our end, because we were dominating that first quarter of that half there. I think the 15 to 20 minutes in, maybe half of that half there, we were on top, on song. We couldn't capitalize on a couple of big opportunities. They had a big moment there where Little intercepted Wade Egan on the line, where Barnett looked like he was going to be over, but Little just came out with an amazing play there. And then from that, they got a penalty, and it just seemed like that's when the momentum changed. And the game these days is all about momentum, and it's really, really tough to change a game back momentum-wise when a team gets that towel up the way the Dragons did, especially with a couple of big players in their side that really showed out in this game that have these potential sort of games in them. But the inconsistency of the Dragons is the reason why they are that team that people are like, we should be able to get over the top of. In this game, a lot of those boys that have inconsistency problems really showed out, and we'll go through the stats a little bit later on a couple of those guys as well. So I thought Jaden Sewell was incredible. A couple of errors are really unfortunate ones, but he definitely showed a lot of ability in this game. I thought Moses Sully was incredible in this game overall. Really took it to Rocco in a couple of moments, and Rocco making an uncharacteristic error defensively against him, getting him on his outside, not able to make a tackle. Usually Rocco makes that tackle 9 times out of 10. Wasn't able to be in this game. I thought that the front rollers for the Dragons were incredible. I thought Hame Sele was incredible for the start of the game that ended up turning the momentum. He was instrumental in that first try where they end up getting, I think that was the first try with Sully, where they had numbers on that side. That all came off the back of Hame Sele through the middle, getting a quick play to ball, and the boys playing off the back of that, the Dragon boys playing off the back of that. Benny Hunt really, was incredible in this one. He really kept the boys in the game, the Dragons in the game. Yeah, really, really disappointing from our boys overall, though. Like that, we weren't able to change the game back over, and I feel like it's a lot. I've seen a lot of with the chat. I felt like our bench definitely was a big talking point in this game, and we will get to that a little bit later. So give me a little bit of time too, guys. I'm going to be just giving you my thoughts overall, and I will be jumping to the chat before maybe some guests are going to roll through, and we'll talk about this performance overall with a couple other boys and all that. So, but first of all, full credit to the Dragons. I thought, they were unbelievable tonight. They performed really, really well. I'm not going to say they're a top 8 team or anything like that. It's not like last week against the Manly Seagulls where I'm like, yo, these guys are top 4, top 8 contention if they play like that. The Dragons, if they continue to play like that, they can be top 8 potential. But, these are the sort of teams that have been struggling in the last couple of years that, we should be getting over the top of. And that's a very disappointing performance from the boys. When the momentum started to go to Dragons' way, it was really we couldn't get the game back. Even going into halftime, usually the most important parts of a football game is 10 minutes before halftime, 10 minutes after halftime. A lot of coaches say those are the moments you need to nail going into halftime, having that momentum and continuing it on from after halftime. And I feel like 10 minutes before halftime, we lost it all the way through. Zach Lomax ended up getting a 2-point field goal that really didn't mean a lot, but it meant something to the Dragons just to say, we can put points on these guys anywhere we can. And they kept that mindset all the way through, because coming straight out of half, Zach Lomax, man, he is having an incredible season. If there's any more Dragons fans in the chat, Zach Lomax, man, he's going to be a big loss for years next year, but he's incredible form this year and just playing with a whole lot of effort and conviction. He's doing very similar things to what our boy Rocco does, but he has that attacking ability too. He's been in the league for a lot longer, the experience. He's attacking upside with his flick passing and that. His running game's incredible. But what I'm loving out of Zach Lomax's game at the moment is his kick chase is on a different level at the moment, and him getting over the top of a boy like Monty, and we will talk about Monty a little bit later on. That was another big moment, obviously, coming out of halftime. Because I honestly, after the halftime spell, I was like, I trust in Webby. I thought the boys were a little bit flat. We started to notice that in behind the ruck, we were starting to get eaten up. We could not slow down that play to ball. We didn't get any opportunities. I won't talk about referees. I thought the referee was, pretty fair overall. We got a couple of calls at later on. I think that Dell knockdown could have been a knock on. We had a couple of moments where we could have been a little bit late, more points put on us, to be honest. So referees are definitely not the point here, but a lot of it is, our boys we didn't get a part of the wrestle. The Dragons boys found their front so quickly, and their playable speed at moments in that game was just on a different level. And then when you had like tied forwards trying to get all the way back, that's when our bench should have came into fruition. But obviously our bench was very limited with the numbers that we had, with Paulie Roach making a debut tonight, not the way that he wants to go about things there. Obviously only playing like I think the last 2 to 5 minutes, if that. Adam Pompey getting carried on our bench definitely wasn't the best move. I was hoping Zion was going to get put there, but then again, maybe experience was a little bit of the issue there. But I felt like, it looked wild from the start. I honestly thought that we had enough talent for our team to carry on and really put it to the Dragons, even with that bench outlook. But after the game, it's really easy to look at after the game and say what we've done wrong and like what we could have changed. But I'm sure Webby knows first and foremost what he's done here. And I won't put it all on Webby. I feel like there was a couple of performances in this game that were really let down Webby. But, that bench rotation did not help things at all either. I felt like it's just one of those nights that nothing went right for us. And a lot went right for the Dragons, and they've definitely deserved this win here. There was no faults on anything else, but the Dragons taking it to us and getting it done over the top of us. They were the better team tonight. So that was really unfortunate to see, but it just is what it is. All right. So I'll move on to the chat, guys. I want to jump in and see what you guys' thoughts are. And, I'll just bounce to you guys and see where your head's at. Overall, guys, this team is still a threat. I don't think this hampers us at all. Teams go through lulls, and it just happens in seasons. It is what it is. But definitely, we can criticize. I do feel like it's open to criticize the squad overall and say that we need to be better in a lot of areas. And there is definitely some areas that we do need to fix up on, because the game plan that we have will win games more so than not. But definitely, we can't just keep putting ourselves behind the 8 ball with errors and ill discipline. And, there's a couple of players here that definitely need to work on their game a little bit more. When we're going good, it's a lot easier to compliment these guys and say they're absolutely amazing. But I can already see, there's going to be a lot of chat against a couple of guys as well. And I hope you guys aren't those people that when they're going well, you jump on the back of it. But when they didn't have the best games tonight, you can't jump on the back of that as well. So let's jump into the chat and see where the thoughts are overall. Detroit, appreciate you coming through, my bro. Really love your comments overall here. Our worst game, their best game, only lost by 3 tries. We'll turn it around. I love your positivity there, mate, but we definitely got a little bit more to work on, though. But yeah, it definitely was our worst game, and coming off our probably back-to-back worst performances after a really big performance against the Rabbitohs, probably good that we end up getting a touch-up here and really learn from a lot of experiences overall. Cartier. There is a lot to work on. Got smokes. Played our worst game in 2 years, and Dragons were the best team tonight. 100%. I got to agree overall. That was definitely our worst game in the last couple of years. This was probably the worst game under Webby's tenure, in my opinion, overall. And, the writing definitely could have been on the wall, especially seeing the bench before this game, but you can't just, judge on that too. I felt like, every Warriors fan coming into this game, even with that bench, was thinking that we're going to get over the top of Dragons, and it just is what it is. Jazzy, yeah, Detroit look like it on the ground too. Yeah, 100%. Nanad, my brother, my Dragons fan that's always around these traps here. The great Dragons. Yeah, congratulations, my brother. I appreciate it, but stop this slander about the Dragons being a grand final team. Stop that. You need to stop that. Oh, love it. Jazzy, how was the Warriors' drums and chants through the TV, Fanu? I honestly thought that the fans did really well in moments where we could have got back in the game. I felt the chants a little bit later on in the game where the boys got a little bit more possession to later on. I felt like, the turnout from the TV, I thought everyone actually turned up and actually did their job live. But obviously the boys didn't give a lot to really cheer about, to be honest. Like early on in the game there was, and then the Dragons really took a stranglehold in this game. And there's a couple of stats here I actually do want to go through because we led in possession overall, which is mental. But yeah, obviously our completion rate wasn't the best as what we should be overall. Detroit, Penrith, Panthers lost to the Wooden Spoon Tigers last year and won it all. I'm not worried for real. 100%, I'm definitely not worried. I do feel like there is, we can criticize our squad and definitely say there's things we can do better in that. But there is moments in a year where teams do drop points. Us coming off of we haven't lost a game in the last 4 games or 3 games overall. We had the Rabbits, we had the Raiders, all that, back to back. Yep, the Manly Sea Eagles. Which was a draw. Definitely, was due for a loss, but obviously I was hoping that it was going to be continuing on for a decent period here. Would have been good to pick up a lot of points. Richie, good to see you in the chat, my brother. Appreciate you coming through, my man. Bloody awesome. The boys will have that fire from now on. It will give our team an edge, and you play, 100%. I think the biggest thing is Webby can definitely take a lot out of this performance and really say, all right, this is where we need to grow, because we've seen a couple of moments, from the last couple of games. Obviously the big one is errors, but he'll go a little bit more deeper into that. And definitely in this one, we had Monty that definitely had a night to forget in this one, and he does have that in his game. It's probably something he does need to really work on. If we were to say before this game, if a lot of people would say, we drop Monty, I would say probably about 60 to 70% of people say, no, we keep him in a squad. He's one of our better wingers, but I can definitely hear the drums beating at the moment for a lot of people calling for Monty, and I feel like it may be a little bit early, but he does need to fix up a lot of these errors that are in his game at the moment. But one player did not do this performance like this, you know what I mean? It was a complete capitulation in moments from a couple of players, and inexperience on our bench, and it's just the way it went. Jacko here, one poor game, not a real worry, but we were poor in the first half against Manly. We need to change our patterns at times, as we are far too predictable. It's wild because I feel like when we're going good, we become very unpredictable, but when we have moments like this, where teams actually get their tails up against us and that, we end up being a team that is quote unquote predictable. I know that our right side seems to be a lot of why we're going to say we're predictable on that, but we run so many different sets on that side. Defensively, I thought the Dragons did really well to hold out. There was Berry on a couple of moments there. Obviously, Shawnee got over early. I did feel like our left side didn't connect as much as we should have. I didn't think we attacked on our left side enough of what we should have in this game, which we have been doing a lot more this season. I thought there was moments early on in this game I was actually going to touch on. I think there was a moment where Sheck really got into a couple of decent positions off some playmaking on that left edge. I thought Tamade was using him early, and then Jacko had some nice moments early, and then that just all fell apart during the game, and I felt like we were trying to chase our tails. And it's starting to become a little bit of a pattern that we do need to change. We can't be putting pressure on ourselves to win games like this. We need to stay to our game plan, put the teams behind scoreboard pressure, and really give it to them. And that's where they'll fall off late into a game, and we're just unable to do that in this game here particularly. And back to back with Jacko here. RTS has lost at center. Put him on the wing. Bring Pompey, Ale. See, honestly, I don't want to be like this guy, but what frustrates me about this comment here overall, because it's not just you, Jacko, but it's a lot of people too. I've seen a lot of people saying now put RTS at the wing. Start the season, everyone was saying put RTS at the fullback. He's going to be a left center. He'll continue to work to be a left center. He's been amazing to start the season. Had a couple of errors in his game. It is what it is, but we would never have said put Bompe back on that wing. I know there's a lot of fans out there that were against having Bompe in the center overall. Why are we calling for Bompe back out now when we've had one really bad game? I know we've had a couple of bad performances that we've kind of fought hard to really get back at late, but one really poor performance, and now we're calling on players that a lot of people have slated on for a long time here, and that really frustrates me. That's the one thing that does frustrate me about this fan base is we can't just keep turning over players like this too and just being put them in the bin, we got to switch players out. Roger will get better in that center position. He will continue to grow. We just need to learn how to use Roger into that center position, use him for the middle, maybe work some sets on that side. We are still a little bit right side reliant. We need to learn how to use him at that center role. And Monty on that side, Monty still has things to grow in his game. Obviously defensively he struggled tonight. And he obviously struggled with errors tonight, but I wouldn't blow everything up and just be all right, we've got to start all over again. We got to build a combination there, and I feel in time that will build. And it's still so early on in the season. Still so early on in the season. All right. Mohammed, I agree. RTS potential is totally wasted being in centers and needs to change. See, this, oh man, we weren't saying this to start the season. There was no one that was saying this to start the season. The other ones were coming out to say him at fullback because we hadn't seen Chancey. And Chancey had a killer performance, I thought, in this one too. Even with the team going on the back of the 8 ball, I thought Chancey was great in this game. Like, now we're looking at putting RTS to a wing. Like, that frustrates me, guys. Like, it's one loss. It's one loss. It's a bad one, 100%. But we can't just blow up a whole side and just say, like, throw out the game plan that we've been running with just because of one little performance. But I understand your frustrations, guys. I do. It's just like that frustrates me also is like we got to stay patient too. Like, you know, this is our second year under Webby's tenure. He's a second year rookie coach. I still believe we're a premiership threat. This is not me taking away and say we're not up there yet because I do believe we will grow to that. We got a team to do that. But you got to think there's like moments where we got to grow into a season and we can fix up on these things. You know, 30-12 against the Dragons. The Dragons were amazing. We weren't that great against a bottom tier side by a lot of people's opinion. Maybe, who knows, the Dragons could be a lot better than what people thought. But overall, we're going to look at it as the Dragons, the bottom tier side. Webby will look at his performance and really pinpoint what's going on and really give it to these boys and say, this is what we need to change. And like overall, guys, it frustrates me. That really frustrates me overall. It really frustrates me because no one was saying this before this game. No one was saying this. And, you know, anyone that has receipts on it, like, bro. Detroit, people used to straight shit on Pompey for most of last year, and now they're calling it back. It's crazy how quickly things have changed, honestly, how quickly things have changed. And even then, like, you know, my first team overall had Pompey in the team, but then like when I saw RTS at left center, and I saw him play the potential he has in that left center, I was like, you know what, is what it is. I think we look really good with that team lineup that we have there. After one bad game, we want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and put Pompey back in that center. And then if he has any more defensive errors in his game and that, everyone's going to be asking for Sheck to be back in that center. And, you know, like, it just, people just are crazy sometimes with these sort of thoughts overall. I think we just need to get back on. We just need to back the boys at the moment. You know what I mean? I feel like out of everyone, they're the ones that are going to be hurting the most in this performance. They were probably expecting to come into this one after all the big news. You know, everyone was saying we're premiership threats. We should have come into this game and done really well. And I feel like the boys are probably in the sheds right now going like, we let everyone down. And like, that's the big thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with our squad. I think there's just things we need to work on and grow in our performances overall. We still came into this game. This is not an excuse. So don't come at me and be like, you're making excuses. We came into this game, right? We've lost Maratanir Kore off the bench. We've lost Dylan Walker. We've lost Jazzy Tavanga. We've lost Bunty Afoa. We ran a bench with Paul Roach in his first game. Jacob Laban in his probably second or third game this season has a ton of potential, but definitely had a learning experience in this game, but still has a ton of potential. So don't like think he's shit after this performance either. Zion was about to get put into this game by the looks of it, but we nearly ran a bench of Ali Leatoa and Adam Pompey on the bench. Like, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I mean? We got to be better 100%, but we can't just be throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You know, that's just what's... it frustrates me, guys. It frustrates me. Baby Lasagna. What a name. What a name. Shout out to X. Thank you for coming through and all that. We're about to bring on Levon a little bit later too, guys. He's jumped into the backstage, so get excited for that. I'm sure he's got some really good thoughts overall. I think he came off a date with his missus too, guys, so shout out to him. Obviously, you know, a family man first. I love it. But Zion should have been on the bench. Odd call by Webster. I do kind of agree with that. Looking at the bench before, I would have thought that Zion would have come on late for a debut in this one, but didn't end up like happening. I do feel like that maybe Webby kind of looked at the bench and thought, if we ran a bench with Paulie Roach, inexperienced, Jacob Laban, inexperienced still, you know, Tom Arle, still growing into his position at the moment, but he's incredible. So I'll give him that. He's experienced. And then you got Zion Ma'u. You got two debutants there and a guy that only debuted like a couple of weeks ago. I felt like Adam Bombay was just a guy to have experience around the squad. Obviously, it didn't happen the way he wanted to. I think he had too much trust in that starting lineup to get it done against these Dragons. Maybe came in thinking that we're going to go over the top of them a little bit easier than we thought, and just didn't happen that way. And I think Webby definitely has to have some criticism after this one as well. Maybe the bench just didn't look the way that we wanted to overall. Jacko here, definitely the positivity I want to see here. Ali played well. He is coming on well, and 100%. And especially in a performance like this, 30-12, you know, it could have been easy for him just to be like, you know what, I give up for the middle. But I thought he played pretty well for the middle overall. Boosh, the brothers got outplayed by a Hungry Dragons team. They were awesome tonight. 100%, 100%. And we've got to give a lot of credit to the Dragons. Maybe they're a lot better than what people think they are, but overall, we should be a better side. You know what I mean? But you know, got to give credit to the Dragons. Like, I thought they were incredible tonight. Tahi, bro, on point, Ash. Appreciate you coming through, my man. Appreciate you coming through. And Detroit, lastly, I love this from you, my bro. Our losses, 4 points, 4 points, 18 points. It's not even a hiding in my eyes. 24 points is a hiding. 18 points isn't that bad, to be honest. Honestly, it is still a high. Like, to me, I still think we got dominated in that game for a good chunk of the period. Like, I think 20 minutes before halftime, the Dragons got their towels up. And even all the way to probably about, 10 minutes left in the game, the Dragons had that period there where they really put it on us. So, definitely a lot to change. I thought we definitely got whipped. But, 4 points, 18, like, there's still so much potential in this side, and don't chuck the baby out with the bathwater. That's definitely, maybe that's going to be the title of this video, guys. You know what I mean? Like, let's not get crazy as Warriors fans. Definitely a lot to improve on. We're sure me and Levon will touch on it, but yeah, just is what it is. Like, we're dealing with injuries. I don't want to call that as to be a as an excuse, but definitely something, a lot of things that we still need to work on. But yeah, guys, that's my thoughts overall. Definitely, if you did miss out on a lot of my thoughts on all that, feel free to watch back the video from the start. But we're going to bring on Levon because I do feel like that it would be really nice to hear his thoughts overall on the game and his, great. I'm sure he's watched it really, really in depth as well. So really, really curious to see what his thoughts are overall, and we'll bounce around and still continue to comment, guys. 92 people in the chat right now. You guys are absolutely amazing. Even on a down week, you guys still keep turning up, and I do appreciate every single one of you guys on wahsup TV. You guys are unbelievable. Like, you always turn up for us, and hopefully we give you the best content that we can for the future. So let's bring on the bro, Levon. What is your thoughts overall, my brother? Welcome to the show, my man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Bro,
appreciate it. Look, I'll be honest, I haven't even watched anything. I literally just watched the highlights of the game, and I'm just got some feedback from everyone on Instagram. Some are saying don't even watch it. I was on a date night with the missus, and so I was just oblivious, trying to really focus in on the conversation, and as you try to do, and then I turned my phone on. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be one of those ones. But I'm just gonna give my observation, and I'm just gonna ask you some questions as to make the story out. I'm going off of the stats here.
Yep.
Now it looks like first thing I want to address is.
Did you want the stats up, actually?
Yeah. I've got them here as well. I'm just going to go through the tackle numbers for Berry and SJ. Really, really high, like extremely higher than the other. Did they target down our right edge a lot?
They did, very much so. So Jaden Saw definitely had a great night out there. They were running him straight on Sean Johnson. As soon as Cooper Cronk actually called it out, the first thing is like, the first place I'll be going is Jaden Saw on Sean Johnson, and bang. Like, he had an error. He had a forward pass off of one that play there. That could have been another little bit of points where Benny put him on a short ball. He went all the way through, had the offload, and just threw a forward pass to Benny Hunt. Could have been another try. So, they were definitely attacking that side, especially when they got quick play the ball and all that, and our numbering up on that side was pretty disappointing. So we did drop the ball a little bit in that position there.
Yeah, and just the volume of what happened to Jackson Ford? Did he get off injured?
He did have a shoulder injury early on. Still got through 60. And I'm pretty sure Webby would just chucked on Laban in his position there from memory.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm just guys, and I apologize. I haven't done anything, but I'm just trying to figure out a storyline here now. The back row numbers are extremely low. Jackson Ford and Kate Well, 10,
Mm.
17. What was the story with that?
Yeah, I felt like that. Jacko's really came at the back of, early in the game. I did feel like we were using Jacko, RTS, and all that on that side. We went away from that and really started to attack on that right side. Kate Well was more so as a decoy for most of those times there, running some
Yeah.
really nice decoy lines. That first decoy line helped a lot with Shawnee's first try, if you watched the highlights of that one. But overall,
Yes.
they definitely did not get used as much as what we usually do, especially Jacko. Jacko usually gets through a ton of work rate, whether that came down to a shoulder injury, but he still played 60 minutes, so I can't really put that down as an excuse there.
Yeah.
We just did not use our edgies as much as what we usually do.
And the other number that's kind of scary is the back five for the Dragons.
Dragons.
Massive numbers,
Yep.
and their front row obviously small. Really, the starters look abysmal. So it tells you a lot that a lot of maybe from out of yardage they were really good, or they just dominated us on those
Yeah,
evenings.
I felt like we tried to get to a game plan early of the normal game plan we give to, Barry trying to cut off. We're targeting Tui Bolotu, that edge as much as possible.
Yeah.
Barry was getting down there, shutting down as much as he could. But Moses Sully, just their work out of that back end, like Zach Lomax coming in for runs, Michele Ravalawa, a lot of his damage actually come off of kickoff returns too. I feel like, he had some tackle breaking ability for just
Yeah.
bro, like he is so strong on that edge. But those boys, Moses Sully, Zach Lomax, and Michele Ravalawa had games out, and Christian Tuipulotu had a very safe and strong game. Like he was strong under the high ball. He definitely defended Dell to the best of his abilities. Just the way that there was their defense, and you'll probably see it in your tape because I know you'll run the tape and all that. They weren't really. They were sliding so early, and they covered so early on our right side shift. The boys didn't like Shawnee was trying to play short. I think he had one moment where Capewell definitely dropped his lollies early in the game. We had Barry on one later on in the game too, where he nearly got over. He was trying to use that, but a lot of the time, if we're going out the back to chance, those boys were just shifting straight off our edge back rolls and that.
It's Capewell. Capewell's not a threat. He's not he's not going to hold those defenses a lot of the time.
No.
Which is kind of strict. You got to address that. So, I think they got to go back to the drawing board a little bit. Like, look, I want to just tautoko Ash, and I feel like, and I've got it on Instagram. RTS is overrated. The team are playing as individual. They're just. Right. There's just panic stations, and this just reminds me of old Warriors of old, where people just destroy people for just one bad performance. Now I'll watch it back, and some of that might be true, but I'm like, we got to just hold tight for a bit, people here. Maybe we got to lower the expectations of top four or whatever a little bit, because I'm just thinking, man, there's a lot of panic going on at the moment, and I just don't think that's warranted. Off of a poor game. And I mean, I haven't even watched it, but to hear the changes that people were wanting Pompey in for RTS and RTS to Montoya and Ali in for RTS, I'm like...
answer this question, bro. How many times have you heard this season, to start the season, to put RTS on a wing?
Oh, no, not to start the season. No, I didn't hear it much at the start, no, but I've been hearing it now. Yeah.
Definitely hearing it now. When did you ever hear Pompey over... RTS or Montoya in that center?
Yeah, no, I didn't hear it all.
I think overall, I think it is a footy fan thing. I think it's a sport fan thing overall. We obviously want our teams to win. We want to be the Penrith Panthers. It makes it so tough. Like if you watch the Premier League, right? This is a big one, guys. And I know this is not rugby league, but this is the best example I could have, right? You watch the Premier League, Levon. I know you do. Who's the best team in the Premier League right now?
Man City right now.
100%. Why are they such a good team?
Just resilience, best players in the world, all that type of thing. Yeah.
And that grew over time, didn't it? They had that first signing of Pep Guardiola, and then they just grew into such a powerhouse. They ended up getting a ton of players, and they just continue to grow from there. Who's the second best team right now, the last 2 years in the Premier League right now?
Is it Arsenal? Is Arsenal the one?
100%
Yeah.
Arsenal. And what's Arsenal trying to do right now and build to become like at the moment?
They're trying to avoid being bottle jobs and
Be like Manchester. I knew you were going to get me on this one. So a lot of the chat, obviously, and what hampers Arsenal is as soon as we get a couple of bad performances, people are like, well, you're never going to be like Manchester City, throw everything out of the backwater, and you just got to throw players out left, right, and center and try to change everything. And it's to a fault at sometimes. And like people got to understand that teams grow. Like it's not just like you can't just step into a side and just be absolutely incredible. And like, you know, people are just like the Panthers, the first season of the Panthers when Ivan Cleary came in, they weren't anything close to what they are now. It took a good couple of years before they started to get that development system under place. And then they came through. Phil Gild was there for 5 years trying to build a development system under the Panthers. Yep. And I understand that we got a taste of success so quickly. And I feel like we jumped so quickly. And I still believe we're a premiership threat. But I think the biggest thing overall, guys, is just understand that we still got to grow. And no matter what, like we're going to have performances like this because we're growing to try to figure out what wins games. How do we stay in contests? Like momentum is such a big thing in rugby league right now. And losing momentum is such a strong thing in this game. Even the Panthers struggle with that in times. But it's so hard to continue to chase the Panthers because the Panthers are a variable. They're one of the first sides in a long time to do what they're doing.
Really good point.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's the same with Manchester City. They're a variable. Like, we haven't seen anything like that since Manchester United back in the day. And like, you know, teams like that come and we want to be like that, but you got to give ourselves time to become that. It takes time to become that. No one sees the journey. Everyone sees the success. And that's the biggest thing. You see the success with Penrith now. You never remembered the journey. People wanted Nathan Cleary out. They didn't want Nathan Cleary. They wanted Malone over Cleary when he first was there. Now look at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm with you, bro. No,
that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and I think, and I mean, I've been big on this, is not over, you know, taking something too far and kind of leveling your head and keeping everything kind of settled. I really feel as though we just need to be. Yeah, I think this is definitely. And again, you just got to build into a season. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's the end of our season because we lost tonight, and I haven't even watched the game, so I'm just feeling as though, yeah, sure, there might be some questions. I mean, how did the bench go? Just in general, did it work or it just bombed?
Did not work, brother. Did not work. We had if we look at the minutes of our bench overall.
Yeah.
So Ale played 31 and he was definitely the most out of our bench here. Laban 21 minutes, and then Bompe and Pully Roach pretty much got chucked on late in the game where everything was dead. 6 minutes and 4. So we ran only 2 men on the bench, and even then I felt like Laban came on late. Ale was our only main rotation that we had there. Where if you look at the Dragons, you look at their bench overall, a full strong bench. They had Laurie for 36, DeBellin for 59, Murdoch Masilla for 14, and Faimanu Brown was late with 18. That Jack DeBellin, bro. Jack DeBellin came on, did numbers.
Bellin 140, Laurie, yeah. Like I think a lot of this is like it's a really. Like I rate Flanagan too. I know he's the master of anabolic steroids, but apart from that, he's a smart dude. You know what I mean? So we've had Seabold and Flanagan kind of give a blueprint of how to shut us down. Now that's scary because teams could figure things out, 100%. But we have to adapt. Yep. But if you're telling me that was maybe a bit Webby was wrong on that, we got to take that one. But that's where it tells me there's a gap still with the guys that are coming through, and he hasn't yet. The evaluation on them is that they're still not ready, which is kind of like we're crying for Walker, Marata, Jazz, guys that he trusts, Bunty. We've got 4 of those guys out right now. We can't cope. Like from what he's telling us, he didn't want to play Zion. That tells me, no, we're about there. We're about 23 man deep, 24.
Yep.
I bet you he would have even played Freddie Lussick if Freddie was available.
Freddie was ready.
He would have played Freddie over
Paul
Roach and Laban. Or I think that's how. I think it's Laban, then it's then in Mayu, and there's a bit of a gap between those two. But yeah,
it's our depth is heavily getting tested. But we got the man, Joshy Gage. Good to see you jump in, my brother. Hey. I want to hear your thoughts overall, man. Obviously a disappointing one, my bro, and give us some happiness too, bro, or you're going to be real down too.
Oh, hey, bros. Hey, bros.
What's going on,
Um,
bros?
bro, look, man. I think what we I just jumped in right at the end there, Levon. Sorry, bro. I think
No.
yeah, you're right, bro. Flanagan, you're spot on. Flanagan is known for his anabolic steroids, bro. So that's just where we leave it. I think let's just stay there. Yeah, premiership winning coach, whilst cheating. Yeah, then got the boot. So no, he's intelligent, bro. Sure, he's
Yeah,
intelligent.
he's a good coach.
I think what we got to do too, boys, is we got to remember, like one thing we've all seemed to have forgotten is the moon phase that we're in right now. Okay, it's actually the waxing gibbous phase. Okay, and we don't play well in the waxing gibbous phase. I've gone back and had a look at the stats, and we win 37% of the time. I made that number up. I don't even know what phase we're in now, but I'm pretty sure it's the waxing gibbous phase, boys. I thought that 90 minutes took its toll on us. I think last week. I'll be interested to see how Manly plays this week as well.
Yep.
Yep.
I think they're tired. I'm not forgetting we've got to. No, Manly have to do the same thing when they fly back. But we had to fly over. That's one day's less training. I don't know. I think the boys just look tired and they look mentally fatigued a bit. And I would rather we do that now and we sort our shit out for the rest of the year. So no, I'm all right. I'm all right with it. Yeah, I'm all right with it. Sorry, bro. Carry on.
No, you're right, brother. I think that's definitely a very big positive thought overall. Is like we'd rather do this now, before you end up leaving. Oh God, Joshy, poor Joshy. Anyway, yeah, it's a good thing. Like it's better that we do this now. Overall, we get it done and we learn from this experience. I know Webby's definitely going to take a lot out of this, but yeah, just it is disappointing, obviously, guys. I know that we've come off the high of James Fisher-Harris signing, and I think this is why it hurts a little bit more when you see all this going on right now. A lot of the media around us was premiership threat. We get Fisher-Harris, we lose to the Dragons. Doesn't look good, but it's such an early part of the season. Webby will change things. He'll get everything right. And Joshy, are you back? Are you back, Joshy? It doesn't look like he's back yet. That's all right. But yeah, Levon,
Yep.
what more thoughts do you got to throw out there, my bro? Where's your head at the moment?
I think it's. Look, we've come to a kind of a mini breaking point. Let's say that guys are mentally drained, tired. We're 6 or 8 men. How many down? We're down Metcalf, Walker, Marata, Bunty, Jazz. Who else? We 6 or 7 guys down right now. Like there is going to be a toll. Like I saw it last week even, and maybe earlier. Like guys like Tohu and Barnett, and they can't keep doing what they're doing at that volume without having a reliable support.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be like there's got to be some type of like in the attack. It sounds like the attack's just not working down that left side. Is that right? It's just not.
It wasn't the same. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't anything to be had in this game here. But I would also just say, like, before this game, we saw moments, obviously, in the Rabbits game. That was a flat track, obviously, in a way, like, by the looks of it. Obviously, the Rabbits aren't playing that great.
Yeah.
But we showed our potential there as well. And I'm sure that, like, it's still something we got to grow with. Like, that combination still got to grow. But I can't be like, Tamade Martin had a horrible game. Like, I felt like, his running game was okay and that, but yeah, it's still definitely things to work on that left side.
Yeah. I think we just got to do. We got to go through these points, and there's every year there's a lull. Remember the one last year? It was like Melbourne, Roosters, Melbourne, Panthers.
And what was our biggest fault in that lull there?
Our
attack.
Yeah.
Our attack could not get over top. That Melbourne game, our attack looked great, but that Roosters game, we couldn't attack. The Rabbits game, we couldn't attack. We had a ton of field position, but we couldn't get over the top of those sort of sides there. Something we do need to fix up on, and we need to really grow and figure out how to implement our game plan and continue to put it on teams like this and that. But that attack ended up coming later on to the season, and then we ended up looking unstoppable in moments. So I do trust that the boys will get it back right. But Josh is giving it a mad crack here to jump back on. He's trying his heart out over here. Obviously, he's having internet connections problems overall. But good little point here from Stefan boy. Webby pointed out one thing from the press conference: emphasis on our attitude defensively was an issue, allowing SG forwards to St. George forwards to get momentum. Technical issues need to be addressed around the ruck. And I felt like that was definitely a big issue in this game. There was that big chunk, right? So Jacob Little got an intercept on our line. Wado tried to go for the all or nothing play with Barnett to crash over. Little got the intercept. I think they got the penalty off the end of that. And then from there, James Sele in behind the ruck was incredible. Even though his numbers weren't unbelievable in this game, their roll on for the middle was so hard to stop. Oh. We couldn't slow down the ruck. It looked like we were kind of, just really tired and just lethargic through the middle in moments. And then we tried to bring it on late and it just wasn't to be. So, yeah, that's my thought.
Well, I mean, there were signs last week against Manly. If you look at our defensive shape, and I'm probably going to watch the tape and see a similar thing. They just panic to get back in the line, guys all over the place. I imagine Capewell on the right side. I mean, Capewell on the left, Ford on the right. Sometimes just couldn't control. Sounds like they're struggling to control the ruck at the moment.
Pretty much what happened with our first try there with Moses Sully. You'll probably see it there. I think Sele quick played the ball. They shift left because the boys were rushing to get back on that right side with Shawnee and all that.
Yep.
Chance tried to push Capewell out early. But the boys just couldn't number up, and I think it was a one-on-one tackle attempt with Berry. Berry's, 9 times out of 10, he'll try and get it over the top of Sully there, but Sully too big, too hard, too strong to beat there. But especially with the numbers on the side, did not give Berry an opportunity to really get in front and get his body in front.
Yeah.
And it didn't help us there. But there was a lot of moments like that in this game. Especially, players like Benny Hunt and all that really took their opportunities on front foot footy, and it's something that we do need to work on a little bit there too.
Yeah. Tell me about Montoya's game. I know everyone's been blasting him. I saw the one where he missed. Lomax looked like they were just literally dropped in his hands with no pressure. Was it other errors that everyone's frustrated with as well?
I think it's just mainly the errors that he had. He had the big error there. How many errors did he actually end up with the game with? But from memory, the biggest one was, in the biggest moment where the Dragons were getting their tails up. They had momentum, and then he ends up dropping the ball, and great field position for the Dragons. I think they end up scoring on that play as well. And then he had that defensive error later on in the game. I think it wasn't too much of an error. He tried to get his body on a Ravalawa, but Ravalawa too big, too strong. But he definitely could have bounced out a lot earlier. I think he was in Sheck's pocket for a little bit too long there. And definitely could have covered a lot earlier to give the best opportunity, but definitely had a couple of moments he would love to forget in this game. And he definitely has it in his game still. And I think that's what a lot of people are jumping on the back of right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, my concern has always been that we need more pace down that wing. If I could get Dallon's pace on that side, on the left side, I would probably get even more out of Roger. I think that we just don't have like I talked about Ravalawa finishing. I would much rather a finishing winger with a bit more quality than Montoya. I think Montoya's time has run its course here. There's too much guys like Kossi and Setu too. There's too much quality coming through that need a shot. Yeah, Montoya's the mold of the Montoya. I think we need more. I think we need more speed on the outside. I haven't watched the game. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more patient with Monty because we've seen the good parts of Monty as well. But we've seen some of the bad parts of Gossi as well, and we've seen some of the I don't want to hold Gossi or anything to that, but defensive wise, Gossi has caught himself out a lot of times too, and he still has in Cup. He hasn't been playing amazing in Cup. He's he just really got back. Setu 2 is pretty nice, but mainly every time I've seen Setu 2, I'm pretty sure he's on the right side wing, so it shouldn't be too bad of a switch if you got him on the left side and that. But still, now we're giving a lot of big opportunity to a very inexperienced player of a Setu 2 and that if we're not going to go Gossi.
That's true.
Where honestly, I think, Monty definitely, he still has it in his game, but I believe that he can get it out of his game if he just turns it back a little bit. I think a lot of what happens with Monty, he tries too hard in a lot of moments. And I feel like he, a lot of what we've been discussing since the start of the year, I felt like Sheck gave him a lot more confidence to really read the defensive like proper early on in the start of the season, but that's fallen away now. And I feel like he doesn't trust his inside man enough, and he always sits in the pocket a lot. And you know what I mean? Like if it's sliding out, it sits in the pocket. If it's not sliding out, he cuts in deep and tries to shut down a play too early. I feel like he tries too hard in moments, and I feel like a lot of his errors come off that, like, you know, him contesting for balls. Like he had a drop for a contest as well. Where it's something that he just needs to like get that ball and just like, you know, put it in the pocket, but sometimes he just can't, you know what I mean? So he definitely needs to fix up on that, but I just don't know who we got to bring up that's going to do anything a lot better, because I still think there's like players that we have that do very similar things.
My question is, what is the percentage of why people want to move RTS to the wing? Is it because mainly Montoya's bad, or is it because RTS should be better at the wing? Why are people calling for that type of change?
I'd love to give it to the chat there, guys. You guys chat what your thoughts are on that, but I'll give you my thoughts of why I think people are going to like go that way. It's more so for me, I think it's two things here. It's number one, we want to see more Sheck, and we believe that Sheck in that winger role, obviously from the back end, we see him a lot more and all that. And I feel like, and maybe as people are seeing the errors of Monty and just seeing that
So it's
Sheck,
more
he's
Montoya.
obviously, but we also do know, guys, like I don't want you to forget too, Sheck had a couple of really bad drop balls under the high ball to start this year as well. So it's going to take time for him to get back to that. Like, I don't think that's the fix the issue, but that's what I'm trying to think is like, I think it's a bit of both things there, bro. I think it's Monty's not had a great game. Sheck, we want to get him in the game as much as possible, and people don't believe at the moment we're going to do it enough in center, which is, you know, what was his stats in this game overall, bro?
Well, I think that's exactly what Jacko's saying is here. He said RTS is not a midfield player. He failed there in Union. Haven't time to get him up to NRL level. It's time. It's exactly what you're saying there. It's time to get him up to NRL level. It's a bit of everything though. It's like the attack's not getting him any good ball or whatever it is, but it's time. He needs time under the
He needs time, but also there's so many people singing his praises early this season in that center role. Like he's jumped out in that center role higher than most other players that got chucked in that center role earlier. Like AJ Brimson at the Titans, they tried that, did not go anywhere close to what Rog did in that center role. Like so many people to start the season were out here and saying like Rog is incredible. Like I still think Rog is an incredible center. I do believe that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's incredible. He can get it. He can get it done.
100%.
But he just needs time under the pump. And like getting a working over from Lomax, great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Getting a working over from whoever it is, he's gonna have to improve. Like
100%.
And if he's, you know, that's part of the learning on the job. And if we're not going to give him that, if we're going to panic stations and say, nah, he's the wing now, what if he bombs at wing as well? Like you said, he's had drop balls, he's had then the next, drop them all complete, put Pompey in or Leotoa. Well, but then you'll get Pompey and Leotoa and they won't make the meters like Roger does, and you'll complain about that. You just got to ride these ones out and trust the process. That's where we're at right now.
Yeah, 100%, man. And like, you know, unfortunately, like it is such a sporting thing to do. Like we're all as sports fans, we want our team to be absolutely incredible. And I understand that we've had one bad game and people are just like, we need changes. But, you know, it's the first thing, like it started the season when people were complaining about Jazzy, end up going that way. Webby end up choosing, you know, over Jazzy and that. But like some of these players bring a lot more than what like sometimes their deficit is in a lot of other games. They do need to fix up on a couple of areas, but maybe it just comes to a point where maybe we need to grow from beneath and those guys will take over in time. But like it's such an early season and it's so good to see that we've had the signs and our game plan works. We've had our first hiccup. Now it's on us to really go next week and show everyone that we are grown from that performance. So
I just want to quickly note Detroit saying people need to realize that Dally M RTS 5 years ago isn't the same player he is today. Different build, but that's the thing is that guys, we can't hold him to. He's a different player, and I believe not the same player. I think some people have thought he's come from rugby union. We're going to get the same guy.
Yeah,
that's just not the case. But he's still quality. He's still very good to the point that he can. I think if you give him time, he'll get it. He'll get it right. But yeah, I just think it's going to be. Yeah, I just think it's going to take some time.
Was a Jacko here. I disagree with you about RTS, but it is what it is. He was awesome on the wing back at the Chookies. Yeah, that was back in 2016, 2015, 2014. We're going a long time now. He was trimmed back then, young in his years. Like, if we're going to talk like that, he was a better fullback by then. So we're going to try and shoe him in at fullback. And you know what I mean? Like, I understand where all these arguments are at.
I think it's just like we're in a really tricky bind. Like, okay, you put him on the wing, right?
Yep.
You bring in Pompey. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Yeah, that's fine. What if you get not happy with Pompey? You go Leotoa. Well, Leotoa's, yes, but he needs time to develop fully in Cup. You know, he's got a whole year ahead of him. I think we just need to kind of sort of drop everything back a little bit and just sort of take what we can from it.
Yep.
I bet you if Webby felt like he wouldn't force it, he'd just say, yeah, you're a winger, man. This has failed. We're going to put you on the wing. I don't think that's the case, but we'll have to wait and see.
I think, like, overall, like, you know, the teams that I've worried about to start the season, and, you know, I think I had a lot of talk of this on, if you go and check out my channel, my later prediction, all that sort of stuff. So I've got receipts of this, but I struggled to believe in the Knights this season. And what was my main reason of why I struggled to believe in the Knights? It was because of the half merry-go-round. Because of, if one person has a bad game, they want to shift one person out, put someone in, and think that that's going to change everything 1 week at a time. You can't get cohesion that way. Like, how is Monty going to trust his inside man if he doesn't have the same man inside of him? How is Sheck going to trust Jacko if he's not playing out the back inside of him?
Yep.
How is anyone going to trust each other if they're not playing with each other? That's just the way it is, right? Same with the Rabbitohs. When Ilias got all this, like, talk around him and everything was going around that it was his fault, they switched him out to Hawkins, nothing changed. You know, like, there is other problems too that maybe if we go on a 4-game losing streak, 3-game losing streak, right?
Yeah,
and these same problems happen, then the changes come, right? But if we're going to go off one game that we got beat like this, where we've seen a lot of good things as well, you know what I mean? Like, that's when teams fall apart. That's when people start talking within player bases and going, well, you know, why am I not good enough to be here? And then you start getting disjointed. We've just made a big signing of Fisher Harris. Everyone will start looking at each other. Yeah. You can't do that. We got a team. This is a team sport. We got to build cohesion and we've got to build love between the boys. I know they're hurting right now and they'll grow from this performance. I think that's the biggest thing.
I think, like, and this is the part of RTS's game that I don't actually quite like. The one that looked like he gave the penalty away for the dropout.
Yeah,
he does have that in his game, and I'm like, you don't matter where you play central wing. If you've got those mental lapses, we just can't have that. And that's where I'll be like, I'm like, he's got a few errors in him, and it's happened every week nearly, and I'm like, that's not a good sign, bro. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of that did come down to also, like, you know, the new rule has been the whole thing of, like, if the ball goes past that 10 now or doesn't go past that 10, no one touches it. It's just a play ball. Back in the day when Rog played, even if you touched it, no matter what, it was going to be a penalty in front. So maybe he just thought, well, you know, it's going to be a penalty in front, but you just can't do it. Like, you've got to be smarter in those moments.
You got to, like, really, you know what I mean? Like, he's had a few bad errors, and like, there was the Melbourne Storm game.
The drop ball.
The whispers were going around then.
Yep.
And so I'm just saying, you just can't afford to have that level of brain snaps, you know, at this level.
Yeah. I think, like, you know, just overall, like, I've seen on that many sports, is like, I think that's the biggest thing is when you watch every sport in the world, a team sport overall too, things go wrong when you start changing things again and again and again and think that's going to fix everything. When the main thing why teams go so well is everything sticks together, everyone gets cohesion, and they learn how each other play. And I think we just got to learn how to play with RTS. We've got to learn his better decisions as well. We've been saying, me and Anton have been saying to start the season that we even think that he's playing on his wrong side. You know, he preferably was a right side winger back at the Chooks. He was preferably, by the way he sidesteps, the way he moves, he's preferably a right side player. He's got a left side step, which gets on the outside. A lot of, like, you know, your centers and that like to get on the outside of players, not back on the inside. You're cutting back into the defense, not on the outside of the defense usually, right? So he's still learning his craft at a center position that he may even be on the wrong side. And I don't think we're going to shoe him in on the right side because Barry's incredible, right? I don't want to drop Barry. There's no way of that, right? But, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's still got to grow. But even then, like, he showed great performances too. Like, you can't just, like, I don't know.
But I think the more data we get, and I think people think I'm arguing with them in the chat. I'm not. I'm not trying to say you're haters or anyone. I'm just
No
trying
way.
to come to a. Are we at a? Is there really? And if you're being honest, is there a breaking point? Like we need to change this right now. I'm not sure on that.
No.
I think if you get a bit more data, at least halfway through the season,
Yep.
maybe even 16 games worth of data, and if it just says if screaming out this isn't working,
Yep.
I'm happy to do it then. But for right now, I'm just holding out.
100%.
Yeah.
If we go like, it's a long season.
Yeah.
If we go on a couple of game losing streak with the team that we have, then we start looking at things. But before this game, I don't think there was any chat about anything like this. There was obviously chat of like RTS to fullback. We heard that before. Chance came back, proved why we did that, right? From memory, there was not much other things that we were really worried about with this team other than the Jazzy thoughts of Jazzy not being in the lineup and Jacko trying to get his errors down packed. And then after the 2 games of the weekend, we've had a lot of errors that have really put us behind the 8 ball as well.
Yep.
Like, it's something we do need to get out of the game, but like, it will take time. This is so early in the season. That's
like
the whole thing.
And I think the thing is though, teams are keying on to us.
Yeah.
Anything I learned from the tape I looked at, Manly, they had a great game plan, and I knew Flanagan would have something up his sleeve in terms of how to, and I know we had our flaws too, guys. I'm not acknowledging the bench was obviously a massive fail, guys
100%.
making routine errors, but you got to be ready now. Like there's 2 teams. Their teams are keying on to us, and the good coaches and teams that aren't in turmoil like the Rabbitohs. That's when you're saying, okay, we got to figure this out. And for me, like I think a pretty is if it is the right side isn't clicking, what is it? Is it Catewell not dragging in the defender? Is it the line not hard enough? If teams are shifting out already? That's a sign something's not happening in the middle to draw them in. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
So there's clear signs of there's got to figure out what's happening.
But I also do think that we are threatened through mainly 2 parts of the field. And that's why I can't really go back to like we're unpredictable as well, because I feel like our middle attack is like the best attack middle in the league, right?
Yeah, it's the best.
So we
variety.
got threat off Tohu, we got threat off Shawnee, we got threats off Egan. Like I still think that like everything we're doing is so viable, and everything that like the Panthers game plan is simple. People know how to defend it. But what's the reason why the Panthers keep winning? Is because they just relentlessly continue to hit, no matter what, right? And so with the thing with us, we just got to learn that when we get turned away, don't put our heads in and we've been doing so well with it at the start of the season. Like it just is what it is, right? We've had a really bad loss in this one, understandably. We've had a lot of injuries and all that, and the Dragons played absolutely incredible. And I've got to give it to the Dragons, right? But the things that makes the Panthers special, and it's the same with other best teams in sport too, is they don't play by their game plan. They play by their own game plan, and they put it onto a side and say, we're going to do it better than every other team in the competition. You can't stop us. The Panthers play back for the middle, back for the middle, back for the middle, and they do it no matter what. They just keep going, and they know they can get you later on in the game, and it will happen. The Warriors play by a similar game plan. It looks frustrating to start with, and I understand that. But if we learn to keep our errors down, to play the field position like we were so good to start the season, it's one game. You know what I mean? It's one game.
I think one guy that I've just kind of been really missing, and is Dylan Walker. I know he does a lot to kind of really help keep our middle attack going well and setting shape for everyone else. I mean, and like the numbers I'm trying to look at here, what have we got? 4 minutes in terms of Tohu. Did he play 80? Yes, he did.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, that's just too much for me. Fanua Blake 70 minutes. Come on, that's not going to work, man. That's just
he played a big game tonight, and he was great to start.
He was
big game.
Like I get it's probably 233, but we can't be playing that guy at 70 minutes.
No way. But I don't think we have the opportunity to say otherwise.
I know, and that's what I'm saying is that it's telling me that there's that depth. We've had a kind of a breaking point and a mini breaking point.
Yeah,
we're really short those guys, but Walker is that guy that he just does so much, and we've missed him. I think of all of them, he's the guy. He's the key for me.
And back to you guys, like everyone in the chat too, like we're not arguing with your points overall, like
No,
saying that they're wrong overall,
right.
but we're just rounding out these points so we understand from all different angles where we're coming from. And I think that's the best way. Like, and I hope you guys don't take me as being like, no, you're wrong. Like this is the way it is.
Absolutely.
Like another thing I kind of did want to touch on is Jacko saying not often Panthers forwards get dominated like we did tonight. There's not many times where Panthers have dealt with the injury crisis of like having no Fisher Harris, no Leota, no, last year they were bringing on Lindsay Smith. They still had all these boys coming through. Like we've have no Marata Niokore, we have no Dylan Walker, we have no Jazzy Tavanga, we have no Bunty Afoa. Like our forward depth is getting tested heavily tonight, and it just didn't hold up. And I think Webby should go back to the game plan, the tapes and that, and see what we can figure out. Again, we are still in the early phase, and I want to go back to, I think Jacko had a really nice one earlier on too. And it's not hammering on you, Jacko, too either, but it was just, I want to touch on this is how much time do we have? And honestly, I know Jacko is such a big fan. He's an older fan. He wants a chip as early as possible. I know a lot of Warriors fans feel exactly the same thing, but if we want success, it's going to come in time, guys. Like it's not going to happen in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like maybe we can be that amazing story that out of nowhere it happens. But do we not remember the 2002 Warriors, right? We had that one amazing year, bang. We looked amazing, right? 2003, what happened? 2004, what happened? 2005, what happened? 2006, what happened? 2007, when was the last time? 2011, right? We got back to the grand final. What happened 2012? What happened 2013? You know what I mean? If we have these like big strikes and everything goes amazingly right, we got to keep on that uptrend slowly and it will grow. Like the Panthers didn't do this in 1 year. That's what I keep going back to. Like, unfortunately, teams like this don't grow in 1 year. And I feel like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. I think the expectations are changing suddenly. I don't think. I think this is definitely going to be just a build. Like, yeah, I think if we're evaluating how the season's going so far, it is kind of maybe not what we expected. I think that carryover from last season, it isn't going to happen that way. We're going to have to rebuild this, and we're hitting some brick walls. But this is part of the learning process, eh? I mean, guys.
My whole thing on that, bro, is like the expectation. What I'm saying is not changing what my expectation is over the squad. I still think that we are a premiership threat this year. But what I'm saying is that if we're not a premiership threat this year, if we don't hit, I think we're still around that top 4 range. I still believe that no matter what happens this year, I still think we're going to hit that. But we just got to have continual growth for our team, and we can't make changes off of just one game. We can't just keep just going, bang, put it in, like put this guy in, switch this guy in, think it's going to change everything. That's not how sport works. I don't know how much sport, like if you've ever played team sport, how many times have you ever seen a team that just goes, I want to chuck you in, chuck you in, chuck you in. Oh, you're not playing good, chuck you out, chuck you in, and that works. It doesn't work. And it never has worked. A team that stays together, sticks together, works together is a team that wins. And I think Cameron Smith said the best thing in SEN radio last 4 weeks or whatever is a championship, a championship team will always be a team full of champions, or was it the opposite way around? So meaning that teams like the Roosters, right? That's what the Roosters are struggling with. They've bought all the most amazing players in the competition. And where have they gone with that for the last 5 years? You know what I mean? They keep, they had Fleno at that point. Kyle Flanagan had a great game here, but whether he was going to be their starting half forever and all that, it is what it is, right? But they just went, oh, nah, not him. Grab Sam Walker. They tried to put him with Kiri. Didn't work. Now they're in that same boat. You know what I mean? Like, you can't go keeping on a merry-go-round. We're just going to ruin our salary cap. We're going to throw everyone left, right, and center. All the boys are going to start looking at each other and going, we're not safe in this position, and we're not a desirable club to play for anymore, because after one game, one bad performance, everyone's going to be trying to stab your back. You know what I mean? Like, what club do you want to play for that's going to be like that? If Webby's, the best thing about Webby, and what we all love about Webby, is he's going to walk up to these players, put an arm around and be like, listen, mate, that wasn't your best night, and we all know it, but here's how to fix it, and here's how we get there. And we will do that. That's the thing. Is like, we've shown last year, we've had losses last year, not this bad. I think this is the worst one we've had, honestly. But we've had losses last year where Webby's done that and we turn around. It will come. You just gotta trust.
Yeah, we're just gonna trust the process. But guys, I want us to have a little break right now. We're at 121 people. Thank you very much for being in here. But guys, Ash is about 9 people away from being at 1,000. He's on 991 subscribers on YouTube. If you guys can click on the link in the description if you're on YouTube, and if you haven't subscribed already to Ash's page, please go and give him a subscribe right now. Let's get him to 1,000 tonight if we can. That'd be great.
Guys.
If you're on Twitter, I know there's about 80 people of you on Twitter. Please, if you can go sign into your YouTube, look up Ash Thomas or look up wahsup TV and then click on the link in the description that says Ash Thomas. Go give him a subscribe, guys. This is 2 or 3 years of hard work. Relentless amount of videos that he's been putting out. And we both know how hard YouTube is to really break in NRL space. It's really tough.
Yeah.
This is hours and years of hard work. Let's help him get over there. There's 121 of you guys. If I can get 10 of you guys to go over there right now, give him subscribe, get him to that 1,000 because that's a big marker for YouTube. For us rugby league creators, we work hard for that. So get it done. And let's get him over the line tonight. Appreciate that.
And straight back to everyone in the chat too. Like we got 128 eyes on us right now. Like the growth that we've had on this channel, guys, I want to appreciate. Oh, Christopher, I see you shot us straight away. I see that one. Appreciate you, bro. But yeah, everyone that's in the chat right now, thank you so much for helping us grow to this level right now on wahsup TV. We've had such a strong rise within the start of this year, and like, you know, it's incredible to see you all get behind us. The chat's absolutely incredible every time. I've done a couple of live streams on my channel and all that. I know how hard it is when we don't have a chat to bounce off the back of. You guys are absolutely unbelievable, and you make it so easy for us to just continue to do these videos and make it so high quality because you guys are just incredible. And, you know, even though when we're chatting with you guys like this right now, there's no, like, we're not bagging you guys or anything like that. We love you guys. We just want to talk to you guys, and that's the way we are.
We're just talking.
Appreciate you guys.
Just change the topic. How was the referee? Any squabbles or any issues?
For me, bro, honestly, I didn't even think about, like, you know, that sort of thing. I thought he just got blown off the park overall. Like, honestly, I felt like we got the green in 1 or 2 moments there. Like, Dal had a complete knock on that they didn't call. I did feel like the ruck felt really slow tonight, really quick tonight for the Dragons, but really slow for us. But like, I don't want to harp on that.
You don't want to harp on it. Yep, cool.
I feel like the Dragons just, you know, did really well to control us for the middle, but yeah, I felt that the rest weren't too bad.
And what was the conditions? Everything was clear night. Really
clear night. Not too much wind overall. Usually it's a really big windy game at Wollongong, but yeah, it wasn't too bad overall.
Who was the standouts for the Dragons?
Oh, bro, I can name all.
There's quite a few. Okay, everyone.
Who do you think was probably going to be? If there was a name, you know, the team list that we went through, who do you reckon was the guy that we had to shut down and who's on form at the moment?
Well, Lomax, I'm just, even from the wing position, he's been, but yeah.
Yep, it was exactly him, bro. He was unbelievable tonight.
Someone wrote on my comment on my review, said, "How dare you write Lomax over Berry?" And probably came true tonight.
Lomax, bro, he was incredible.
Massive, yeah, he's been a beast. Like, you got to acknowledge just great players. Yep. He's always been a terror against us, man. That 2022, 2021, he was just destroying us and playing with us, you know,
he's having a career year, brother, and like, you know, all credit to, you know, Zach Lomax, and also like, if any Dragons fans out there right now in the chat right now, like, credit to like Shane Flanagan, what he's sort of doing with the Dragons at the moment, trying to get a resurgence in that club after the dire years from the last couple of years. Maybe they are a lot better than what everyone thought they were, but tonight, like, they, at one point, bro, they legit completed at like 95% for, Shucks. I'm going to say probably about all the way up to the last 10 to 15 minutes of that game. And that's when they kind of dropped a couple of balls. Like, they were incredible. Defensively, we'll go through the missed tackle stats. Was it the 35 missed tackles in that? In that first half, bro, they missed 7 missed tackles to our 16, I'm pretty sure, off the top of memory.
Yeah, it's pretty good, eh? Shucks.
Like, defensively, bro, they were strong. They were strong. It didn't end up looking that late, like, by stats-wise. They ended up pushing out. We must have, you know, came home pretty strong there. But I know in that first half,
I'm not looking at the stats. Can you explain to me, was it moments when they scored? Because the stats numbers look kind of even.
It's a confusing one, bro.
Are we losing in moments? Are we just having brain explosions? Or is it like, what exactly, can you pinpoint it down to them scoring that
Well, if we
amount
go
of points.
through, we'll go through the tries overall. So the first try came off the back of a quick play to ball, Moses Sully getting over the top of Rocco Berra in the corner. I think the second try, if memory, hold on, we'll go through like where the tries were. Ravalawa beat Montoya on the outside. That was the defensive thing that I was kind of worried about. They
Yeah.
did a shift. Sloan used his speed to get on the outside of Sheck, and I think that's what caused Monty to not trust Sheck on that moment, even though Sheck had that covered in my
Yeah, I
eyes.
know. Yeah, I saw it. Yep.
Yep, Benny Hunt pretty much just cut back on the inside, powered over a couple of players. Off of, like this all came off of we didn't really defend our line the best of our abilities either, and maybe there
scary.
is something to
There's some
the amount
data
of
there, right?
work. Yeah, the amount of work that we actually do to hold teams into the other end. When it comes to when they get teams on our line, maybe we don't trust in ourselves to defend our line at the moment. That's something we do need to work
That
on.
is alarming. And remember that girl Tiff, Tiffany Salmon.
She came with the start.
I think there was some truth to that.
Yep.
And if it's done itself again, maybe our goal line D isn't as good as what we're really thinking
We're
right now.
hoping. And we may need to fix that up pretty quickly. Benny Hunt's, so that was Benny Hunt's try. Then we go into halftime, right? So we end up, Shawnee was over earlier on in the game, but we go into halftime, just after halftime, bro. And we're talking seconds. The first set, Benny Hunt puts a bomb up. Monty doesn't even go up for it. He stays on the ground to catch it. And of course, who do you think goes over the top of him?
Yeah, I saw that Lomax.
Zach Lomax.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of the thing on Monty is at the moment. He had that moment, had a couple of errors, the defensive thing. Like he didn't have the best game overall, and he didn't obviously look damaging. Like I still got through, what is he, meters mark and all that, but didn't look as usual from the back end as what, usually is. So I think that's where it all came down to. And then the Sloan try just came off of, I think it was a bounce of the ball. Sloaney picked it up with open space and just took it to the house. Dal had a shot at him and just couldn't bring him in.
Yeah. That's just compounding. Sounds like like anything in rugby league. Once things compound, it just gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
And if people are saying the bench did nothing, well then you're not helping that cause anyway.
Yeah.
I just see adding AFB 70 minutes. Just that doesn't add up for me. Yeah.
And I feel like that's where we sort of mainly lost the game. In my opinion, we could not slow down the ruck, our errors and ill discipline. Like we had moments there where from our, as I said, that little moment, right, where we were just peppering that try line. I don't think the Dragons touched our side of the advantage line till that moment. I think it was about 15 minutes in. Shawnee went over. We were attacking their line again. We looked like we were coming up with points. Wado goes for the pass to Barnett. Little intercepts the pass, gets about 30 meters down track. I think someone else runs it there, and then they get a penalty, get into our own end, and bang, that's where they hit.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was just like our forwards couldn't control the middle as best they could. They were rolling down the end of the field, bang, they hit again. And so that's where the momentum started to come into play, and we just couldn't get the ball back and just turn the game over like we usually do. So,
yep. Okay, but yeah, I get the picture, and I'm pretty sure I'll watch it and think the same thing as well.
100%.
Yeah. I think that's
one of those nights, bro.
One of those nights, bro. It happens.
It happens.
And it's crazy that we haven't had too many of those in the last 2 years. And I think that's the reflection point. The NRL is the toughest rugby comp in the world of any type of rugby. It is relentless, and it can punish you. And if you're off by small margins, it can just destroy you. So that's a great reminder that we're not immune because we're doing so well, and we've signed Fisher Harris, and we're going to be this unbeatable Penrith team. Now you got to earn it every week, even on a short turnaround or whatever it may be. You've got to be able to have all the contingencies and everything in place, and that's just a process. Yeah, it is a process.
Exactly, bro. It all comes in time, and that's the biggest thing. I know it's so hard because I know we've had such a loyal fan base. The day oneers that won a premiership now. They see the success, and they believe that we can be that like fairy tale story of being that team that just out of nowhere, Webby touches the side, we make top 4. We get all the way there, and this year we add on top of it. We look like I still believe we are a premiership threat, and I don't want to take that away at all, right? My expectation is still we're there, right?
Yeah.
But it's a long season. We still got to grow, but we still got to grow because as a side completely to not just be a premiership threat this year, but for next year and the year after that. Because I don't want one success. I want years and years and years. And I think that's what Webby's trying to put into place now. And unfortunately, if you want success right now, we may as well chuck out all our young guns and put all these, players that are like experienced guns in there and try and get a premiership this year. But after next year, like they're gone. Like we can't just do that. You know what I mean? Like it's not the way to go.
Hey, I'm going to sign out here, man. I'll let you wrap up. But guys, we're on 996. Thank you for the 5 that came in. Can we get 4 more of you over to Ash? There's 125 of you guys right now. Click on the link in the description. Or if you're on Twitter, please go to your YouTube and type in Ash Thomas. Give him that last bit of follow, guys. Get him to 1,000. He's right there.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, sorry, guys. I couldn't add much value. I didn't watch it. I went on a date night and tried to and tried to enjoy myself, but I'll have to look at the tape and that. But no, thanks, Ash. Thank you for all you do, guys. For you, man, and guys. Just so you know, Ash will be regularly running this post-match show, and the format will be very similar, where he'll obviously give his views, take comments, and then guests will come in at the back end. So just be familiar with that. Yep. And everyone in the chat, appreciate you guys. Yeah, it's a tough one, and if we are being a little bit thingy at each other, hey, that's part of being a fan, right? And we're a community. Yep. We might get on each other's nerves sometimes. That's part of it, but we'll be back again for the next stream, and everything will be all good. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your night, man. Thanks, Vash, for all you do, brother.
Thank you, my bro.
I'll let you wrap up, and peace.
Let's go. Up the wires, baby.
Up the wires.
All right, guys. So yeah, make sure you comment down below your thoughts overall too, guys. I will try and touch on the chat a little bit more now, and really bounce off what you guys are thinking and stuff like that. I know it's such a dour affair. Like I understand where everything's at, but yeah, I hope you guys just understand where I'm coming from as well. I'm not saying that anything you're saying is wrong. I understand being emotional about this performance and what's going on, but it's one game, like, you know what I mean? I've seen a lot of performances to start the season I was really, really happy with and really content that we are growing in the right direction. This is a little hiccup, and, now it's on to us. This is where it proves that what side we are actually, and if we can get over the top of this. We got the Titans next week. That's a positive one. It's a sold-out game, Anzac round. If the boys are up for that, they better be up for that, because I know the Titans will still be hunting for a win. I know they got a chance this weekend to hunt for one, but they're looking for a win. If we keep those guys, and really put some points on them, that's where we want to be at. So, but I appreciate every single one of you guys. Like, honestly, it's just the way it is. And as Tahi, bro, and all that, as the same thing going on with this game, discipline areas and attitude is definitely things we just need to change. So, yeah. You are saying what we all thinking? Yeah, 100% Tahi. Yeah, I hope I'm not just a soundboard that just keeps saying the same thing again and again and again. But this is what sport is, you know what I mean? Like when you look at every sport in the world, right? If you follow any other team in any other organization and stuff, you know that what builds success, and, we just got to implement the same things here. That's just what it is overall. To be honest, that was trash, Coco Jungo. Yeah, I know. It definitely was a trash one. It was definitely a frustrating watch, and I'll give it that. I won't concede that at all. Overall, that was very, very bad. Hopefully tonight's loss filters out those. Yeah, 100%. Nah, overall, I do enjoy just, a lot of people getting behind the Warriors overall. Like, I'm not one of those guys that bash a bandwagon fan overall, because honestly, the reason why you fall in love with the team is the way they play, the way, you know what I mean? Like, you fall in love with a team, the way they play, they make you excited, they make you happy. It is what it is. If people don't want to follow us because they don't make it happen anymore, all goods, but maybe see you later on when we go well. And that's the fickle fans, it is what it is. I'm all goods with you guys jumping on the back of it, because all it is just makes it sound louder when it comes to finals time, and that sounds awesome. Tony T, I think it was because we didn't wear our white jerseys. It might have been, bro. Yeah, it's on to the Dragons, man. They need to change their jerseys, so we can wear our white ones. Jacko here, true, Michael. Yeah, backing off the back of what Jacko was just saying there. Detroit, it's all good. Just feels like talking to my siblings dissecting the game. Yeah. Overall, like, as I keep saying, just... Oh, my chair's going down, guys. Holy... Everything's going wrong tonight. It's just one of those nights. I think overall, just... As I keep saying, you can't just, off one performance, you can't just be like, chuck a player out, chuck this guy here, chuck this guy here. It doesn't work that way. I think we just need to work for everyone and just support the boys in this moment, because they are going to be feeling a lot worse than us. Like, they came in with all the expectation in the world. You know, we still rolled out there with a decent crowd for what I heard on like, you know, TV and that. And they come up with a duck egg in this one. So I'm sure the boys are hurting, especially, you know, with all the news going around the Warriors at the moment. I'm sure they wanted to put on a big performance, especially for Barney's 150th game. I'm sure Barney is sitting there and steaming right now because, you know, I thought he was good tonight too. Honestly, I thought AFB was amazing tonight. Obviously, you know, as Levon said, played for a lot longer minutes. You know, he got for 200 meters and he looked damaging whenever he was on. But unfortunately, we just couldn't play off the back of that tonight, and just the bench didn't come on and really replicate that. And I don't think we had anyone on the bench. We had a lot of inexperience that couldn't replicate what AFB does. I don't think we really could anyway. So it just was the tail of the tape in this one. If we all agreed, then the chat would be boring. Keep it up, bro. 100%, 100%. And I love a good like chat overall and like hearing different opinions, because that's what rounds out my opinions. I could go after what's going on tonight and come away and go, maybe I'll come up next time and be like, maybe you guys were right. Maybe like everything I've said is wrong. And this is the way it is. Like, I love hearing what you guys think, and it opens up my mind. And when I go rewatch the tape, maybe I will come up with a different idea. But from what I know from watching, like, I'm not saying that like, you know, everyone watches sport and all that, but from watching all different sports around the world, like, there's a similar thing that works no matter what. And it's why this sport is called a team sport, is because we got a team. Like, they stick together. We're not individuals. We can't just change one individual and just chuck people out left, right, and center. They're not puzzle pieces. Like, they're a team. Like, that's the way sport works. And I know that everyone understands that, obviously, overall. So that's one thing I do want to drive into you guys is, you know, if you look at all the big teams that have success over the years, it's because there's such a supportive base there that have grown over the years and gotten better and better and better. And that's just how it works. The Panthers, they started with the base of, you know, Cleary and Maloney, and, you know, those boys grew together with that team that they brought in from the juniors that all played together through their juniors. Like, you know, Luai, Cleary, Mosley Ota, Stephen Crichton, Brian Toto, they all played together through their juniors. Like, we trying to grow something very similar, and it will come in time. That's the biggest thing. We just need to play more football together and build a combination. But even then, I still think we're there. I think just sometimes you get hiccups in games. Like, I'm sure Penrith fans were probably talking the same thing when they lost to the Tigers last year. It wasn't a bad loss. Like, they didn't get smacked. You know, they only lost to Manly the other week without Nathan Cleary, but I'm sure they weren't saying, like, you know, chucking players left, right, and center out. Like, we want to be up there. Jazzy, even though our fans are harsh on the players, they're fucking hearty in support, man. People are still up, walking around yelling up the Warriors. And that's the biggest thing too, guys, is like, you know, this fan base is incredible. Like, I know we can be, you know, at times we're like, yo, like, you know, we need to be better and all that, 100%. But what I do love is when the whips are cracking, we all get behind the boys and we support, and that's the biggest thing too. I know that every single one of you guys, even though you're saying like, you know, players to this position, I know when it comes to team day, game day, and when everyone runs out there, you all back the players anyway. So that's the way you support a team, and you guys do it to the fullest extent. And that's why I love being a Warriors fan. When I see all you guys out there, you guys are absolutely incredible. Tell you, bro, cannot wait to see TMM getting rolling once he's on that side. Yeah. Getting rolling once he's on that side will open up. Yeah, 100%. There is an opportunity there where Tamate Martin, he has the skill set to do something special on that side when he grows a combination there. Like, you know, he's third game in now. Like, you know, coming back off the injury and stuff, and he's been in and out of the side. Let him build that combination there overall. Richie, good to see you, my bro. We just don't want to see rubbish like tonight, bro. That was honestly no good. We're still up with the wires. Yeah, I understand that, guys. And I know you don't want to see the rubbishes tonight, but unfortunately, sometimes that's the way sport goes. There's no excuses, though. Like, we need to be better than that. But honestly, also, I just want to give full credit to the Dragons, too. Like, they beat us, like, in that game convincingly, and we need to be better. We need to go back to the drawing board and, you know, get back on the horse. But I know you guys are all support. Like, you guys are incredible as a supporting base. But anyway, guys, all right. So I might tune off anyway because I'm pretty much just chasing my tail overall. But make sure you keep an eye on wahsup TV overall. Levon will probably do a massive breakdown of the game. He's got his Monday show with Joshy Gage. We got our Tuesday show, All You Can Eat Warriors. That's going to be incredible overall. Do keep an eye out. I might put a little video up on wahsup TV as well. My thoughts overall on the game when I do a little bit more of a deeper dive on it tonight and tomorrow. I'll probably look at what really went wrong here, what we need to fix up on, but also where we need to go from here, and the way up. Because honestly, we can't sit on this for too long. It was a bad performance, but I'm sure the boys will get back in the changing rooms here, figure out what's going wrong. Next week we got the Titans, sold out game. Can't wait. It's going to be amazing, guys. I'm sure, we are a lot better than what we've shown tonight, and I know you guys all trust that. It was a lot of great constructive chat tonight. It was awesome. I felt like, even though we were talking about players switching a position left, right, and center, none of you guys were just out here just saying someone shit. That's an awesome mindset to have. And that's one thing we do want to change in football too, is like, bring a constructive argument. Let's just talk about it, because I could be completely wrong, guys. I'm definitely open to being wrong no matter what. But I just love having these chat with you guys. It rounds out both of us, and we become open-minded, and we become better people this way, and we get to see really what our team's like and where we can go from there. So appreciate every single one of you guys. Again, feel free to like and subscribe. wahsup TV. We're going to grow something special here. You guys have been absolutely incredible. I think we hit 800 subs, and it's been like such a quick period too. I think it's been like 300 subs within like a couple of months. Like, you guys are unreal. Your support's on a different level. We're going to bring more content left, right, and center. Me and Levon are definitely working behind the scenes to bring more days that we're going to be talking to you guys. Maybe another live show. I'm going to be working on a live show personally. Obviously, as Levon said, I'll be running a little bit more of Full Credit to the Boys, where I'll talk to you guys a little bit more, and then I'll bring the boys on a little bit later on. But also, I will be working on doing my own show on wahsup TV, maybe on a Wednesday spot, just to talk to you guys, get your thoughts overall, and maybe go on a bit more of a stats deep dive where we need to fix up on, but also talk about other teams in the competition and where we actually sit in the competition comparatively to these other teams, because I think that's the best way we can look at this positively, is where we sit. Are we on a downtrend? Are we on an uptrend? And where we really go. So appreciate every single one of you guys. Make sure you continue to tune in on wahsup TV. And also feel free, if you want to, if you're on Ash Thomas TV right now, or Ash Thomas, I don't know, I said TV and whatever, shout out over there. Give us a like and subscribe if you enjoy what I have to say and all that. You don't have to, only if you do enjoy, but I appreciate every single one of you guys. Nanad, can you do tips as well? Maybe I'll do tips on the Wednesday night. Who knows? We'll see how we go. But up the wires, baby. We grow from here. It is what it is. Another performance. We move on. Titans next week. Let's go. Up you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Let's go.